G'day guys and welcome back to Ados the Great YouTube channel. Now guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving you my predictions of where I see each team finishing in the 2021-2022 NBA season. This is the mid-season episode, I guess, or you could say mid-season edition. So the reason I'm doing this, or I'm saying that, is because I did give my early predictions earlier on in the season. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys, seeing as it's pretty much or just after mid-season, I'm gonna give you guys my final standings. Now I have released a Eastern Conference version of this. If you haven't seen that one, guys, jump over, check that one out. But yeah, in this one we're going to be doing the Western Conference. So we've got all our 15 teams. We got 1 to 6, 7 to 10, and 11 to 15. So obviously playoff teams, play-in teams, and the teams that completely miss out. So after this video, guys, in a couple of days, I'm going to be giving you my award predictions. So that'll be Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Most Valuable. You know the drill. So yeah, very excited to jump into this one, guys. And I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with some of my picks because, you know, we all have a different view on how the season's going to finish. So what I have done is I've jumped over. I can't remember what the thing's called. I think it's called Playoff Predictor. And I've predicted the whole end to the NBA season. So I've seen a few teams have an easier run, whereas other teams have a harder run. So yeah, I'll give you my predictions now though. So first and foremost, we're starting off with the first seed. Could be a little bit controversial, but I think the Suns will run away with it this year. They've been absolutely on fire. As long as everyone stays healthy, I think the Suns will be the first seed. Second seed, I've got the Warriors. Both these teams have been balling out this year. The Warriors have been struggling a little bit with Draymond, but I think they'll still I definitely think they'll be in that top two, maybe at the worst top three by the end of the year. So they get my second spot. A controversial take, I've got the Grizzlies finishing over the next team. I think the Grizzlies are going to finish the season very strong. Ja Morant has been playing like an MVP this season. He's 100% going to be an all-star starter, in my opinion. Definitely deserves it as well. So I've got the Grizzlies as the third seed. The fourth seed is going to be the Utah Jazz. I do see them finishing fourth. I think they're going to be I do think they'll fall off a little bit and lose a few games that they probably should win, but I think they'll still comfortably finish in that top four. Next up, and this was where it became really close. So between about fifth and ninth spot, there's not too many wins between each of these teams. So starting off, I've got the Nuggets in fifth spot. I do think they'll finish the season quite strong. Jokic is carrying them with their injuries as well. So, yeah, I think they've still got the team to make the top five. But if they do lose a few crucial games later on in the season, they definitely could finish fifth, sixth, seventh, possibly eighth, depending on how the other teams go. But for me, I'm locking them into fifth spot. At sixth spot, this one was only one game between. And I'm not saying that because I want to be biased. I'm saying that because I've honestly taken the bias out of it. You guys may not believe that, but I promise you I have. And the Mavericks just finished above the Timberwolves. Obviously, I'm a massive Timberwolves fan, and I'd love for them to finish sixth. So I think that's pretty fair for me to have them at seventh, personally, because I think they will finish higher than the two teams below them. So yeah, but I do think that between these two and the next three, I think will be very, very, very tightly contested there. So the Timberwolves are my seventh seed, the Mavericks are my sixth seed. But you got to think about it. If players like Porzingis or Doncic get injured, then the Timberwolves could definitely and probably will jump up to that sixth seed, and I will be cheering. Obviously, see, Timberwolves fan, and there's a Pat Bev jersey just behind me, so, lying on the fold-out couch. So yeah, I'd love for the T-Wolves to make that top 6 and not have to worry about playing. But trying to set bias aside, I think they will quite comfortably finish 7th. Next up, I think they'll be about 3 games behind the Wolves. I've got the Lakers. They could fall out further if they do get more injuries or struggle. I think even when AD played, they weren't playing that well. Russell Westbrook's really sort of on the downer now. I gave him a lot of love at the start of the season. Despite his turnovers, he was still having triple-doubles that led to wins. So now I'm kind of off the Russell Westbrook train because he's starting to cost them more games. So I think the Lakers do still finish in that top 8, only just. Next team I've got is the Clippers. I think the Clippers do make the play-in. They've won a few games where you'd think they probably should have lost, and this is all without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. When George gets back, and apparently Kawhi could be back before the end of the season, I definitely think they cement their spot in the top 8, top 9 sort of position. I don't think they'll drop any lower, but I doubt they'll go too much higher. So 9th spot is a good position, in my opinion, for the Clippers. Next up, and this one was tough for me. If you watch my Eastern Conference one, you'd see that I sort of juggled 2 teams. And these 2 teams for me in the West are the Pelicans. I do have them sneaking up into that top 10 and a play-in team. I think Brandon Ingram and Jonas Valanciunas are playing amazing at the moment. And I think they will slot up into that top 10, even if Zion isn't healthy. So if Zion is healthy, they could probably make a move up closer to that top 8. But for me, I think 10th spot's pretty good. I think without Damian Lillard, the Blazers will drop out of the top 10. I don't know if they're in there at the moment. I think the Spurs might be. I can't remember. But I think the Blazers will definitely struggle towards the end of the season. They do have CJ McCollum back. But, yeah, I don't see them really posing much of a threat. So for me, the Trailblazers drop out of that play-in and are the 11th seed. Started their rebuild, and hopefully they can pick up a good draft pick. Not too sure on their pick situation. I don't know if they've got their pick, but I think if they can get a good draft pick in 2022 or 2020, it'll be the 2022 draft. If they can pick up a good draft pick there to pair with Lillard, or possibly move a good pick and a player to get a better player to go next to Lillard, that could help them a lot too. I don't know. Or maybe they move both the pick and Dame to a team for a young superstar that could eventually be, a top 5 player in the league. I don't know, but for me, the Trailblazers don't make the play-in. Next up, I think they will have a good run at the end of the year, but fall short of the play-in, and that's the Kings. I don't know what they're going to do in the before the trade deadline. If they can make some moves, I definitely think they could threaten the top 10. But for me, at this point in time, I think they'll finish 11th. Spurs will finish 12th, in my opinion. I just think they're going to burn out. DeJounte Murray is doing a lot for that team. Like, the wins they're getting is mainly because he's getting triple-doubles in them. I think he's definitely got to be a most improved candidate. So I definitely think the Spurs, if they get it all together, get stuff working, possibly pull off a trade, they may slot into that top 10. I think between these 4 teams, it's very close. I think these 4 teams are probably the only 4 out of these 6 that could fight for that play-in. But yeah, I think it's mainly between these 2, and this was the toughest decision I had to make. I think without Damian Lillard there, the Blazers do drop out and the Pelicans come in. Pelicans over the last couple of months have been performing a lot better. Next up, I've got OKC. Shea can't do everything. Giddey is a good acquisition, and they've got good pieces for a rebuild for the future. So I think OKC will be a good team in the next few years, but this year they're getting another good draft pick. So that's pretty much all I've got to say for OKC. And the Rockets, yeah, I don't have much to say about them. They'll finish 15th. I believe they'll finish 15th. I don't think they'll make any real teams worried late in the season. I think they'll have one of the worst records in the league, hence 15th spot. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for me in this one. Pretty quick one. I had, obviously I've had this sort of doing the, I think it's called Player Predictor. The rest of the season, this is how I had my ladder finish. So let me know if you guys disagree with any of this. I'd love to have a chat with you guys in the comments below, sort of discuss where you guys are at with my standings. But other than that, though, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this one. Thank you all so much for watching. It would mean the world to me if you could hit that like button and subscribe. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up from me. Thank you all so much once again. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.